Quick, think of an asexual celebrity. When I say that to you, odds are your mind is pretty damn blank. For Heartstopper fans, it would probably be Alice Oseman, the creator and writer. For Disney kids, maybe Piper Cruder. Hey, maybe some fashion girlies even thought about Tim Gunn. But for a lot of you, your minds were probably pretty damn blank, which is kind of an issue. For the most part, if I were to ask you for a celebrity that belongs to one of the other parts of the queer community intersects with standing, you would probably be able to give me like a really long list. Now, why is this? Why are there so few public figures who are openly asexual or aromantic? And how does this impact the perception of asexual people at large in society, as well as affecting the coming out process for many aspec folks out there? Well, that's exactly what we're here to discuss today, folks. My name is Ali, and this is Extra Virgin, the channel where I talk about whatever the fuck I want, but mostly asexuality. But before we get into the meat of this video, let's do some quick housekeeping. No, I will not be mentioning every single asexual public figure or every single public figure who has at some point said that they might be asexual, but similar to all my other videos, the bulk majority of them will be mentioned in this video. While this video will discuss both aromantic and asexual people, it will skew more heavily towards asexuality, much like most conversations in the ace communities. But also, babe, sorry, can we just take a quick little moment to appreciate me and my really cute aromantic flag poncho? This is the best $30 Depop find I've had in a hot minute. This video is also going to be discussing themes of ableism, transphobia, acephobia, and Miss Turf Bitch herself, JK Rowling, so please, viewer discretion is very heavily advised. This video is sponsored by Mubi, a curated streaming service where you can watch some truly fantastic cinema. I personally have been a Mubi girly for many years now, seeing as it has some of the finest queer cinema out there. Carol, The Handmaiden, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, The Watermelon Woman, alongside many other complete and utter bangers, all housed by this indie streaming service. What I love about Mubi is that they support projects and filmmakers that are often overlooked by the Hollywood mainstream. They have a real commitment to platforming unique stories and diverse creators. Plus, Hannah Einbinder and Gillian Anderson's upcoming film Teenage Sex and Death at Camp My Asthma is being streamed and produced by Mubi, so you just know how sat I am for this film. Insert joke about Io Debris. To experience the joy of world-class cinema for free for 30 days, use the link in the bio for an extended free trial with Mubi. There really is no concrete way of saying exactly who the first openly asexual public figure was, because of how little coverage and mind is given to asexual people. So it's honestly really not an easy answer to provide, but I will try my best today. Famous activist Jim Sinclair, who was a pioneer for neurodiversity, was also famously intersex, asexual, and non-binary. They spoke in an interview with former talk show host Sally Jessy Raphael back in 1989 about their experience being asexual.
Professionals have been very, very earnestly and sincerely helpful in explaining to me all of these things that I can do, even without a penis or a vagina. And I sit there and I listen to them and I think, why on earth would I want to do that?
One of the first more high-profile asexual figures was David Jade, an American asexual activist and the founder of the prolific community, the Asexual Visibility and Education Network, the AVEN for short. He launched the AVEN in 2001, the year before the Sexual Orientation Non-Discrimination Act was passed, which, not so fun fact, is the only piece of legislation in the entire world that actually mentions asexuality. No, I'm not joking. Since then, David has continued to be one of the most revolutionary figures in asexual history. AVEN, since I know you guys follow me on Instagram, hi! Love you guys, thank you for all you do. In 2011, Tim Gunn, best known for being a judge on Project Runway and for his iconic appearance in Gossip Girl, he revealed that he considers himself kind of asexual. He believes that to be the closest term to describe his lack of interest in sex and his prolonged celibacy. And look, there definitely have been conversations about whether or not he is conflating asexuality and celibacy due to a greater cultural misunderstanding and common misuse of the word asexual. But I, for one, am not going to police whether or not he belongs in the A spectrum, because that honestly to me feels rather reductive. My only gripe is that given his fame, I would have loved for him to have spoken out more about him being asexual, especially in the fashion industry, given how hypersexualized it is and how deeply ingrained into the fabric of that world is the notion that sex sells. In 2016, Joe Parrish became the first and I believe only openly asexual person to ever run for American state election. In 2019, asexual activist and creator Yasmin Benoit was the first openly asexual woman to appear on the cover of Attitude magazine and continues to create thought-provoking and engaging content about asexuality and aromanticism to this day. And now on to the person who made me want to make this video in the first place, Miss Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl herself, Chapel Roan. If seeing Chapel Roan featured in a video about asexuality is shocking to you, imagine how I felt. Imagine my reaction as someone who saw her back in 2023 with like 500 other people well before she blew up. Imagine how I felt discovering that she is a part of my community when I was just having like one of my little late night TikTok scrolls before bed. I genuinely shut up so quickly that if I was in a cartoon, there would be smoke trailing behind me. In a 2023 episode of the We Are Having Gay Sex podcast, songstress Chapel Roan revealed that she considers herself demisexual, bemoaning the fact that she wishes that she could experience casual sex, but that just isn't the way that she is wired. She then goes on to describe herself as demisexual.
I think it's called demisexual when you have to have like a really like foundational relationship with them and then you start getting feelings. I'm very much like that.
Yeah.
Vocab time. Demisexuality is classified as a group of people who only experience sexual attraction after they have a strong emotional connection to another person. Demisexuality is a part of the asexual spectrum. As both an asexual redhead and a longtime Chapel fan, when I found this out, it absolutely floored me. So much of my life has been spent Googling what celebrities are asexual and going into the deep, dark depths of Reddit trying to figure out if there is anyone in the public eye like me. And you might think that discovering that one of my favorite artists of all time is part of my community would fill me with overwhelming joy. And it did. But there was also this unmistakable sadness. Sadness that her asexual identity is not more common public knowledge. Sadness for all the lost souls in the asexual community who are just looking for a public figure to represent us and to see themselves in. Also, sadness that Chapel has only discussed this once. Let me just quickly say this. I love that Chapel is one of the defining faces of lesbian pop. From the Give It a Good Luck Babe, I'm so glad she makes so many lesbians feel so seen and represented. I just want the same visibility and loving fervor that I see for lesbian Chapel for Ace Chapel. From her compet smash hit Good Luck Babe to her drag aesthetic, so much of Chapel Roan's public identity is so intrinsically tied to queerness. So when we discuss her being a lesbian trailblazer, how come we are not also saying that she is a demisexual trailblazer? Asexuality is so deeply misunderstood by both queer people and straights alike. They just think that asexuality is not having sex. And so a person who wears revealing clothing and sings songs about being eaten out in the passenger seat, they can't be on the asexual spectrum in their eyes. People do not care to educate themselves about their misconceptions and misunderstandings of asexuality. I mean, why should they? It's not like asexuality is mainstream enough for people to actually give a fuck about. Perhaps if there was a public figure who was on the asexual spectrum, then maybe people would have some more awareness. Oh wait, there is. It's Chapel Roan, but no one is fucking talking about it. The fact that someone can be a lesbian and asexual is likely mind-bending for many people, as they think that a person can only have one identity without realizing that sexuality is such a multifaceted thing. And it should not shock anyone that the patriarchy is another one of the reasons why Chapel's status as a card-carrying member of the asexual community is fairly unknown. I have spoken and written and soapboxed many a time before about how the lack of asexual female TV and film characters is a product of the male gaze, and I wholeheartedly believe this extends to Chapel Roan as a public figure. Women are always going to be viewed as sex objects by society, so a woman who stands in any degree of opposition to sex is diametrically opposed to the box that society wants to put her in, so they cast her aside and try to ignore those parts of her. Given Chapel's status as a modern-day queer visionary, she could do such a massive service to the asexual community by giving them the representation that they are so desperately in need of. And while Chapel Roan has been famously opinionated about many topics from trans rights to Palestine, she has remained rather silent on her aspec identity. And just before this gets taken out of context, this is not me saying that these things are of equal importance. I'm definitely not saying that. While I understand that Chapel Roan is a stage persona that Kaylee puts on for her art, and she does truly not owe the public anything about her personal life and identity, I am also so acutely aware of how much of an impact she would have on the asexual community if she was more outspoken about her demisexual identity. And I understand that some people might make the argument that she's not responsible for uplifting an entire community of people, but Chapel has time and time again stated her desire to be a vocal part of the queer community. But at the end of the day, while I say all of this, there is this really fearful voice in the back of my head saying that the reason that she hasn't spoken out about being on the RA spectrum in like 3 years is maybe because she doesn't identify as that anymore. Because as much as I hate to say this is a really common occurrence for people to come out as asexual and then recant that a few years later and be like, actually, no, sorry, not me. And no, this isn't me saying that you have to choose or that asexuality is replaced by sexuality as the publicly perceived layover on the way to gay town. I'm just saying this because it's a pattern of behavior that I've noticed in recent years. Case in point, Jonathan Groff. Oh, this one hurts me because I have loved this spitty man since I was 10 and rewatching clips of him and Leah singing Rolling in the Deep during recess instead of, talking to people. In May of 2025, esteemed Broadway actor and victim of Leah Michelle's desk lamp, Jonathan Groff was on the Table Manners podcast and spoke about his struggle to discover his sexual identity in his youth.
I had no sex during high school. I was sort of asexual. I didn't have girlfriends, but I was just really into theater.
Jonathan, as much as I love to hear about yours and the late legend Gavin Crill's relationship, I detest your misuse of the word asexual when you meant celibate. When on earth is the world going to realize that celibacy does not equate asexuality? As much as I hate to say it, it's time for me to be a bit controversial right now. That committing yourself to theatre in high school is a rather asexual thing to do. Case in point, yours truly, who won the Rachel Berry Award for being the biggest cliche. Yes, I used to sign my name with gold stars after it. What of it? There is, however, this rather unfortunate common thread about people in the public eye saying that they believe themselves to be asexual before realizing that they identified as something else or using that as a shield for whatever they suspected their true identity was. Such as the musician Morrissey or Caitlyn Jenner. Or for some women, believing yourself to be asexual was a trauma response to grooming and sexualization and being perceived as a sex symbol in your teens. Or at least that is the case for Y2K icon Paris Hilton. In a 2023 interview with Harper's Bazaar, Paris revealed that she believed herself to be asexual for many years. Quote, "I was known as a sex symbol, but anything sexual terrified me. I called myself the kissing bandit because I only like to make out. A lot of my relationships didn't work out because of that," end quote. She does not identify as asexual anymore because of her relationship with her husband and also likely unpacking years of sexual trauma. An example from the past is the one and only Keke Palmer. She opened up about her sexuality on Instagram on Valentine's Day saying, quote, "But I like no one and I'm almost 100% sure I'm asexual. I have no interest in anyone, but I wish I did." End quote. Keke has long been open about her opinion that queer people do not owe others an explanation about how they identify and their sexuality. Quote, "I've always been my own person, and sexuality and identity for me, it's always been confusion. I never felt straight enough. I never felt gay enough. I never felt woman enough. I never felt man enough. I always felt like I was a little bit of everything," end quote. The response to her post from the asexual community has been rather split. Some have been waving purple flags in the air because we got to welcome such an iconic baddie to the community. Others have been wary and unsure if she is just using the word asexual for shorthand, that she is not interested in seeing anyone at the moment, because that has been the case with many public figures in the past. For some people, it does feel similar to when someone will say, "I am so OCD about something," but they don't actually suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder. They are just like a bit of a neat freak. The statement can feel rather icky due to the misrepresentation and misunderstanding of the realities of these communities. As a girly who is both asexual and suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder, I feel like her caption is probably more akin to being aromantic or aro-ace, but as I've said before, I'm not going to be policing people about how they identify. But that being said, there is still this weird tug in me that wants to implore Keke that if she actually identifies as asexual, then I want her to be fighting for more asexual visibility and representation, to make a spectacle and fight for the visibility of aspec people. It is this horrible double-edged sword of wanting representation and visibility, but then also being acutely aware of just how hard that would be to be the only celebrity out there fighting for asexual visibility, especially given how harsh and quite frankly racist the media landscape is towards Black women. I think the biggest takeaway for me personally throughout all of this is how the mixed reception shows just how scared the asexual community is of welcoming people and public figures to the fold, because we have been burnt before many a time. And look, I'm far from being the sort of person that is going to judge anyone for trying to figure out their sexual identity. It is vast and complex and confusing. I do not begrudge anyone who has used the term asexual incorrectly or has identified as such before finding an identity that fit them better. I just hate that the most high profile articles being written about celebrities and asexuality are regarding celebrities who either don't identify as asexual or no longer do. This tends to give off the impression that asexuality is not real and that this identity is a reserved for people who are either confused or in denial or just woefully uneducated. I'm sure that some people could probably view me as rather vain or vapid for focusing this entire video on celebrities and public figures. There could be arguments made that I'm kowtowing to mainstream media by centering this discussion about asexual and aromantic celebrities. But the common thesis of everything that I make on YouTube is that pop culture matters. It just matters. Like it or not, pop culture holds up a mirror to our world, and celebrities are a large part of that. I've already made 2 videos discussing how television and film depictions of asexuality have shaped the general populace's views and fundamental understanding, or misunderstanding rather, of asexuality and aromanticism. I'm seeking making this a series about how different elements of culture have impacted the way in which we view asexuality and aromanticism. I want to talk about the books that have shaped asexual discourse. I want to do a deep dive into how the erasure of asexuality and aromanticism from queer legislation is negatively impacting our community to this day. Even how the internet has impacted this state of discourse. Oh, you just know I would have a lot to say about the POV. You finally get to hear the song that helped you come out as asexual and process a late in life autism diagnosis for the first time live. That trend is an affront to both asexual and autistic communities alike. And perhaps the constant need to belittle other people online and our desensitization to bullying is a putrid element of much of Gen Z discourse. Also, fuck you to everyone making fun of this girl. Honestly, if I hadn't figured out I was ace, seeing Tolerate It Live would have done it to me too, so baby, I get it. Don't worry, I defend you. I digress. Also, no joke, a friend of mine told me that she saw a friend of hers posting a video from the Addison Rae concert with that caption, and she told me like it was this really like sweet and endearing thing. I was like really excited that her friend had had that moment. I just had to be like, oh no honey, it's people dunking on asexual and autistic people to be edgy. Anyway, the point is, how on earth is asexuality going to be more talked about if the only time that high-profile people are talking about it is when they are dragging our name through the mud? Take J.K. Rowling, for example. That turfy. On World Asexuality Day last year, she tweeted, quote, "Happy fake oppression day to everyone who wants complete strangers to know they don't fancy a shag." If you want more from me unpacking that unfortunate quote, in the description I've linked a video of me and ABC Queer unpacking that horrific statement. I saw a video the other day where someone realized just how much of an echo chamber we are in regarding J.K. Rowling, because everyone I speak to is highly critical and honestly hateful towards her, and yet the general population is fairly ignorant to her many atrocities, and if not ignorant, at least apathetic. The concept that she tweeted that out to her 13 million followers on X is objectionably abhorrent and will never cease to vex me. There needs to be louder asexual and aromantic voices out there because we can't have the voices of infamous transphobes and acephobes being the loudest ones. Sadly, with this video, there isn't like this really easy way to wrap everything up until there is a high-profile celebrity that is ready and willing to bear the weight of being the first asexual trailblazer, similar to Laverne Cox for trans people and Ellen DeGeneres for the lesbian community. I guess we will just be continuing this cycle and remaining in this frustrating state of limbo. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.